Hello, Nick.
Good morning, Russell.
Good morning, mate.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Whose phone's
It's
going?
nothing to do with me. That's a member of your team's
iPad's ringing.
The Radio 1 Breakfast Show with
What's
Nick
going on this
Wilshaw.
morning? First of all, the Foo Fighters befoul the air with F-words,
which we've
and now an
apologised
iPad
for.
Kicking off. We should all apologise.
I mean, it's really crazy. And I want to apologise to the person that uses the iPad as a phone. Ugh.
Yeah, how can you hold that up against your
So
face?
annoying.
Like you're a mouse with a normal telephone.
How are you, Russell?
Yeah, really well today.
Yeah?
Really well.
Good.
Thank you.
You've been busy, haven't you?
I've had a lot on, mate.
You really have.
I've been all over the shop.
Been all over the world.
I've been travelling around because I've got 2 books out. Revolution, a book for adults. Pied Piper, a book for little children.
Which one do you think I bought yesterday?
I think you went with the children's one, Nick.
No, I didn't actually.
Well, you got the adult
I
one.
bought the adult one because
Yourself?
I didn't know. I'd read
that's
about
the children's
This is
one.
the children's one.
Nick, the one with the cartoon rats on the front. That is not my book, Revolution.
What? I thought this was the adult one. No, I read all about the children's one, but I didn't know it was out now.
I think
So when I went
it
into
comes out today.
Oh, that's why then. So I went into the bookshop. I bought the adult one. It's not an adult book.
No, it's
it
not
sounds
like
dirty,
erotic or anything.
No, not at all, not at all. So you've been busy doing that.
Yeah. What kind of culture is it, Nick, where the word adult immediately implies pornography? What's happened to our culture?
Unbelievable. What has happened? So you've been busy doing that. Have you had time to be actually you, to be Russell Brand, and not to be talking about the books and promoting it? Have you had like normal time?
No, not really, because it's really immersive. I've noticed once you start shouting your mouth off and saying, like, oh, I don't think that's fair, we should change that, people go, right, this is your full-time job now. Don't you dare try and do anything else. Don't you dare go down West Ham and try and watch a bit of football. Wait, you're meant to be working. Get over there and design a new system of government.
Does that happen like when you're in the street now? Do people always want to talk to you about things? Because if I go to the shop or something, people will be saying, hey, I heard Russell Brand on, and they want to talk about the show.
Yes.
Which is great. But do people want to talk to you about deeper things now when you're in the street? Are people like, what are your views on?
Yeah, they do. Right, okay, we're going to set up an anarcho-syndicate community where every person has a vote. Oh, okay, let me get a pen. Right, it's a lot of pressure.
Get a dry cleaning. We saw in the papers this morning that you were at a demo last night.
Last night was the Million Man March, where people all over the world were protesting against, I suppose, an unrepresentative democracy. I went along before visiting the premiere of the opening night of Made in Dagenham. my family are from Dagenham. It's about like the Ford's factory and stuff where my granddad worked. So, like, I was in the difficult position of being at a sort of an anti-corruption, anti-democracy protest, and then thinking, oh my God, I better rush. We'll go to the theatre in half an hour. So it was a complex scenario, Nick, the kind I find myself in quite frequently.
The big question is that I think everyone wants to know, did you make it on time for the show?
I was there sort of during the opening number.
Yeah, thank
to
God.
Sort of shuffle in.
Would have been a nightmare. Well, I didn't know that because in the paper it sort of makes it out as if you were the leader of this demo because you're...
Right, yeah, I see the photograph you're holding up. It does look like I'm in a prominent position there, leading
Looks like
the protest.
you're leading the march.
No, I was very much just one of the number. I wasn't leading it.
No mask.
It's a lot of responsibility. I was wearing a mask for a little while, but it made a lot of my announcements muffled. Turn right, calm down.
Did you have to
Put
get
that
out
barrier
and
down?
actually calm people down?
There was one bit where, like me, for example, I think protest is really important when people are not happy, when people all over London are losing their houses, when students were promised that they wouldn't have to repay student loans, and like people are reneged on those kind of promises. I can see why there's so much frustration, but I think no matter what, people should remain calm and peaceful in their protest. So whenever I see anything where it's like kicking off a little bit, I sort of feel like a substitute teacher going, oh, we'll settle down now, everyone. and some of the police sort of look to me in my position as a sort of a celebrity to be moderately responsible. So yeah, I did have to make 1 or 2 announcements.
And did they listen? Are they like, all hail, fall back, we're happy?
Yeah, they didn't immediately use military language. I think people are there with all sorts of different objectives. I mean, there's so many people that are unsatisfied and, wound up. It's difficult for one big brother's big mouth presenter to corral the entire scenario.
It's not like cured today then. Everyone's not like, brilliant.
Sadly, no. So it was not a total success, but all over the world people have registered their dissent, and I made it to the opening night of Made in Dagenham.
Thank God. It's a really nice story. That's your next kid's book, maybe. Yeah, and that nice story at the end. I read today people were saying like, oh, he's gone there just to promote his book. He's just gone there just to promote that.
It's easier to come on your breakfast show to promote a book than risk being in a riot. No. What he did was he was born into Grays, into a single-parent family. Then he became a drug addict. Then he lived in poverty, all to promote this book. Brilliant marketing plan. Yeah, I've really been dedicated to this book promo.
It was all a hoax, that, just to promote it, really, yeah. I wanted to talk to you about the kids' book as well.
Yeah, it's important that because it gets a bit lost.
Yeah. And this one I've been reading about because do you think why did you write this? Did you write this because you felt like there was a need just to draw a nice cartoon mouse, or did you want to sort of inspire kids politically?
It's more the second thing, actually, Nick, because that story, The Pied Piper, is an interesting folk tale.
Yeah.
It's because it seems in a way an overreaction that the Pied Piper steals our town's children just because they didn't pay for the pest control. But you sort of think, well, what's that story trying to tell you? And I think it's about tuning in to different ways of thinking. And I was told once that it's really important to communicate messages to children because they're very open, suggestible, riotous little beings. So that book, I'm really sort of proud of it and pleased with it. It's a good way of encouraging sort of beautiful mischief in children.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do as well. What books sort of inspired that in you when you were little? Was there any books? Because this... at the back, there's their trickster glossary of words.
Because I used a lot of long words in the book and slang as well, because I didn't want it to come across too patronising. So there's I do use words like, I think, ameliorate, the word to make better. So I thought, well, I better explain that as it's in a children's book. But I also use slang like, I'll iron you out, you monk, is in there. So I think that children might need to know what it is to be ironed out, or what a mug is.
Or what a mug is.
What is a mug?
Yeah, kids should know proper words, and also they need to know the slang.
In a playground brawl, you don't want children using sort of bourgeois lingo. You want them to be able to say, "Come on in, I'll stick you on the deck, son."
It's like when if kids don't know slang. I hate when kids don't know high fives. If you go like that to a kid and they're like,
they sort of tickle the palm of your hand. Yeah. Haven't you learned the high five?
Come on, child. But that handwriting there in the back of that, is that yours?
No, all of the illustrations were done by this bloke called Chris Riddell, who's an amazing illustrator who does the political satirical cartoons in The Observer and loads of children's books, things called Goth Girl and stuff like that.
Well, that handwriting weirdly reminds me of, I don't remember what book, but it really brought me back to my childhood. He must have done one when I was little.
He's an expert. He understands how children think, this bloke. The illustrations in there are amazing, and I had nothing to do with them except how the Pied Piper looked. All of that world of Hamelin flooded out of Chris Riddell's amazing mind. Except for the Pied Piper, I said, make him look like a droog out of Clockwork Orange. Make him look like Noel Fielding in a Harlequin suit.
I was going to say, that's the kind of his look, innit, Noel?
Yeah, very much. The Pied Piper is based on Noel Fielding and a droog from Clockwork Orange.
Oh, wow.
If someone is going to come into a town playing a pipe and nicking all the kids and the rats, it would be Noel Fielding. And he'd never explain why he did it. And if he did, it would make us understand less.
But why this story? Why did you decide to do this one? Was this because it's a bit of a, like you say, it's a weird, odd story, this?
I'll tell you why, Nick. Because fairy stories and folk tales, there's something in them that we don't fully understand. For example, like Red Riding Hood, right?
Yes.
So that's about when a woman comes of age, the red representing her maturity, she's got to stay on the path to reach matriarchy or grandma's house, avoid the wolf of temptation, masculine libido, etc. But something like the Pied Piper, it's hard to know with your rational mind what it's telling you. You can only know it intuitively. And we live in a culture where we've lost touch with those kind of stories, with that kind of language, with that kind of world. So I thought this is a good way of doing it. Plus, look at that Harlequin outfit. Aren't you going to do a live version of this at Royal Albert Hall? Yes, that's really important. Thank you, mate. On November the 14th at the Albert Hall, I'm reading the book live with all sorts of they're part musician, part magician. They produce trumpets from all manner of orifices. Musicians, and the illustrator Chris Riddell is going to be there doing live drawings. It's going to be I'm doing a bedtime story for thousands of people. We're giving away loads of tickets to schools and worthy causes, but you can come as well if you're an adult, and I'll read you a story. Perhaps you, as you continue to convalesce and return to full strength, I can comfort you with tales.
That'd be nice. Who's going to play? Is there people going to be playing this character? Because surely you need to phone Noel now.
I think with Noel Fielding, it's best to give him as little notice as possible. Just say, come to the Albert Hall, Noel. Just dress normally, and I reckon he'd come more or less in the perfect clothes.
Probably be more extreme than that.
I would say so. You'd have to calm him down to have him dressed as a magical interdimensional trickster being.
You're like, it's a bit overdressed, mate. Right, Russell Brand is here. If you want to say hello this morning, you can, 81199. Are you going to stay for a little bit? Or have
I'll stay as long as you want me to. I'm taking my coat off.
Right, Kasabian, Stevie on Radio 1. Right, Russell Brand is still here, but he's got to go in a second to see Lorraine.
Well, that is the truth.
Yeah, that actually is the truth.
We're dating. Yeah. I need to keep her confidence high when she comes off air.
You're not going for a brunch, so you are actually going...
Brunch with Lorraine.
Yeah, it's
give her a few pointers.
Yeah. Are you dating? Speaking of dating, is it Lorraine?
Currently, I'm a single man until Lorraine eventually yields after several more brunches. She'll be mine. She can't keep up this resistance forever. She's a vulnerable woman. She'll give in.
I mean, that would be quite the couple, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Lorraine. Imagine Lorraine.
And then our own show, Lorraine and Russell.
Oh, brilliant.
I'll be talking about revolution, how to form your own communities and overthrow the government, and I'm going to help you to prepare a souffle. Is that right, Lorraine? She could probably overthrow the government. Lorraine's a capable woman.
She's a very strong woman. She could do whatever she wants.
She'd be in charge,
whatever she wants. Hey, I heard something amazing yesterday when you were doing the radio in America when you were on Howard Stern.
Yes.
Which is a story that I'd love you to tell.
Which one?
Was the story of your neighbours in fancy Hollywood, Jennifer Aniston and Keanu Reeves. Is that right?
Yes, we all do the neighbourhood watch together. Me, Keanu and Jennifer Aniston. Just keep an eye out on things. My shift's on a Wednesday.
Yeah. But I heard them getting annoyed because you were whilst you were not in your house in America, because you're here, you were saying, do you know what, it'd be nice if homeless people lived in my house in America.
Yeah, like the story was that Howard Stern, the American disc jockey, confronted me with, he's like, oh, do you like us here? All your neighbours are upset because you've let loads of homeless people live in your house. I went, no, that's my manager, that people just think he's homeless because of how he looks. He's a highly paid professional man with lots of business interests. He's a very sort of successful guy, but he does look sort of like a gorgeous, shambling, Paul Newman-eyed Jesus. And people saw him and his family going into the house and thought, God, Russell's a great guy, isn't he? He's letting street sleepers rest in his home. Oh, what a beautiful, compassionate man.
That was just Nick.
Although he was actually at that point technically homeless.
Yeah.
I mean, a homeless person is simply a person without a home.
Yeah,
they're not like a different species, so in a way, Keanu and Jennifer were right.
Yeah, they were right. Do you see much of Keanu and Jennifer?
No, never really.
Never ever.
I've literally probably only ever seen them once. I don't know if they are actually neighbours, other than Howard Stern's assertion that they was.
I stayed at my friend's house in Hollywood, and I was like, who lives next door then? Someone fancy? And she was like, yeah, he owns loads of Pizza Huts.
Like, really? Do you reckon we can get infinite salad bar? Oh. How many visits can we get on garlic bread supreme? Oh my God, you are connected.
There's loads of Pizza Huts. And how is life out there? Do you like living in Hollywood or do you prefer living here?
Here now. I've come back here really. Do
you live here now?
Yeah, I'm living in East London. When I started doing it, I'd done the tour here and then sort of wrote this book and everything, got swept up in all sorts of stuff, and now, yeah, I live here. It's all right, nice and warm and everything, but when you're English, you need to be in a place where people talk your language.
Yeah, definitely. I always think I could live there.
Do ya?
Yeah.
You'd be all right there for a while, I think. You know, who knows what where your journey will take you, you soaring, beautiful everyman, you twinkle-eyed, accessible youth.
Thanks, babe.
Even with gastroenteritis or whatever it is you've got, you're still gorgeous. That weight's dropping off you.
Oh, thanks, babe. I went round to my friend's house last night because I needed a hot meal, and she said, come round, I'll make you a potato. So I said, oh, go on, John. I've not ate since like Saturday. I was like, I'll have a potato. And when I went round, one of our kids went, oh! Like, oh, not back to full health then.
Your life doesn't sound that glamorous, really, when you delineate it like that. People are shocked by you, and someone's making you a potato, which is an object that is essentially made by soil. All you've got to do is take it out of the ground, and that is your dinner.
I thought it was bonfire night. It's a normal thing to have, isn't it?
A revolutionary Russian meal. Oh, yeah, right, it's bonfire night.
Bonfire
Fair
night.
enough.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I do, yeah. And Russell, how old's for you today then? Because in my head, what I imagine that you do is you do this, and then you go home, and then you get on sort of a ye oldie typewriter, and you just write sort of sheets and sheets of intelligent stuff. Does that happen, or do you ever just go home and sit at home and watch the telly?
I'm going to go me and Lorraine have got to work on our marriage, and then directly after that, I'll be typing up manifestos for revolutionary movements, trying to crack the code of children's consciousness with a new edition of a children's fairy story. I'll be preparing for the Albert Hall. What am I doing for the rest of the day?
But do you ever
troublemaking?
But do you ever like just not do stuff? Does your brain ever like switch off and you're like? Because I always in my head like to think, oh, I'm like Russell Brand. I can do all sorts of things. And actually, I like watching the telly.
I meditate twice a day for 20 minutes. That's good. It's good to meditate. It's good to get out of yourself a little bit, so you're not all the time worried about like what you want or what you're frightened of, or I'm a bit lonely. You know, you've got to have another dimension to your life. Otherwise, I think you get caught up in silly things.
We spoke about this last time.
Did we?
And we were going. Well, I think we spoke about yoga.
Do you? Well, we were going to go. I went, and you didn't turn up.
No, but you were going at 10, and I finish at 10.
I see. It's a time, once again, we're foiled by our enemy, the clock. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, meditation, I recommend it to you and to all your listeners. Have something in your life that's not what you're afraid of or not what you desire, because everything disappears one day, everything.
I tried it in Ibiza.
You did some meditation or yoga in Ibiza?
Meditation.
How did it go for you, mate?
It was all right.
See?
I did it, but it was 20 minutes, and I just sat down quietly, and I just breathed. Yeah. But I felt just like I'd fall asleep at the end of it.
A lot of it's just relaxing, you know, like a little bit of a relax, but there are interdimensional consciousness frequencies that you can tune into if you want to. Park Life.
Maybe we do. I'm obsessed with the Park Life, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I loved that song when it came out, and I watched the video again recently and thought, yeah, okay, fair enough, I'll have that.
I'll have that. It's so ridiculous how that Park Life thing, was that just someone's tweet that started and now it's like a thing?
Matt said it, used to say it when we did a radio show, that he said that your incomprehensible, endless rants sound like Phil Daniels in Park Life. And then I think someone wrote about it after, when my book came out. I've just gone through my book again, just inserting the word Park Life every 25 words. New edition of Revolution, Park Life special edition.
You should actually do that.
Flying off the shelves! Park Life.
Well, Russell, thank you for coming in.
Oh, yeah, it's important. Get adults and children to come to the Pied Piper at the Albert Hall on the 14th of November, because we've got to charge some people money so we can afford to give it away to the people who can't afford it.
Yeah, people saying, when can we go? How do we get tickets? But I guess there's a website.
Go on the Albert Hall website and put in Russell Brand Pied Piper. You'll see Chris Riddell doing amazing drawings of rats. You'll see me showing off. You'll see amazing musicians and magicians, and Noel Fielding dressed as Princess Leia out of Return of the Jedi, I imagine is how he's going to be. So it'll be a wonderful evening for everyone involved.
Russell, thank you for coming in.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Lovely to see you as ever.
Lovely to see you, darling.
But you've got to rush off and see Lorraine.
We've got to save our marriage.
The Radio 1 Breakfast Show with Nick Grimshaw.
Oh, you got the feeling that I want to feel.